Welcome back. Where we left off, Andelz Copperwolf was about to leave Joff's Crossing, a small mining village, and head up the big wagon path, almost a road, except not paved, to the small fortification of Cragscleft, built on top of the mines in the mountains above the village, and refurbished to be both a fort and a prison, from used by people from a slightly distant kingdom who are not in good relations with the people of the village of Joff's Crossing below them. Our protagonist, Andelz, has learned some things. We'll see if I remember them. And he has two goals. One of them is to try and do something about undead that are in the mines that are not under the control of Nash, the power that normally would have complete authority over all undead. That seems a little beyond him at this point in his perspective. He also heard that one of the townsfolk has a missing sister named Jenivere, and Jenivere went to Cragscleft to try and visit her fiancé, the woodcutter named Choppy Thickwrist, to see how he was doing, and she never came back. And her brother Bosso is worried that she has been uh, kidnapped, not released by the people of Cragscleft. I have some ideas for what will happen. Well, we also mentioned that the people in the Cragscleft are from a group that call themselves the Jackblades, younger nobles from this kingdom that like to both fix trouble and cause trouble. And they have some rivals from a different group in the Kingdom of Stoneridge named the Tough Lads. Three of those are in Joff's Crossing but have not made themselves known to anyone yet. They are just pretending to be merchants, traveling merchants. So before we really get started in the story, I am playing this as if I am a traditional GM that has prepared some backstory and such, and the player. And as the GM, I have some ideas of how this might develop. I'm ready to abandon these preconceived ideas if whatever the dice tell me happens doesn't fit, or if things appear during the play that seem more fun than my preconceived ideas. But as you are listening, it seems only fair to let you in on what I'm thinking before we get started. First is that there will be more than one visit to Cragscleft. That perhaps Andelz can deal with Jenivere first, maybe even free the prisoner um, Choppy, or maybe he is just going to have to serve his time. It's not that many more days. We're not sure how badly he is being treated. And then we'll return a second time to deal with the fact that the Kingdom of Stoneridge is sort of expanding and encroaching on this land, and some of the less nice part of Stoneridge also. And then the second thing I am expecting is that Jenivere is not just a damsel in distress that is locked up in some cell, and Andelz needs to somehow infiltrate the prison and rescue her. I think she's a capable um, hunter, woodsperson, alchemist herself. We talked about how people in the village could be, and I think that she and Andelz are going to probably meet in the mines before he gets to Cragscleft and start working together some. And third, that the Tough Lads will eventually reveal themselves and help overthrow their rivals, the jackblades. Well, we'll see about that. Um, I'm not sure that whatever happens with Andelz will be the right motivation, the right catalyst for what the tough lads want to do. Okay. Andelz says, I'm going to head up the road. I think I've learned all I can in town. I've heard about one of the miners from back when the mine was active by the people of Joff's Crossing. One of these old miners used strange glyphs to keep them safe. And he's also heard of very conflicting things, that there was some bugaboo, a kind of nightmare monster from Little Humble, that appeared and maybe is responsible for the lost miners from so many years ago becoming skeletons. So those two things seem to suggest he should start investigating the mines. Maybe he can learn something about these glyphs, and that would be useful. Maybe he can learn about the bugaboo, maybe even defeat it and deal with the undead that way. Not that he would really understand things, but he could at least stop the problem. So he walks up the path. It's one of those winding paths up the side of the foothills into the mountains that goes steeply up on one side and steeply down on the other. And you can't really get lost. It's not like there were a lot of forks in the road or anything. This was just how people got materials to and from the mines. And let's, on the other hand, see how the journey fares. So I roll up something random on the spreadsheet, how a journey fares. Something is unusual about a hidden item, which allows him to recover some resilience or composure. I forgot to check if he was missing any. I'm guessing he is pretty well rested since he was just in town. If he succeeds in a medium perception or track, well, he has 3 dice on either. Medium means he needs a 2 or less, which he does get. Then he gains a clue. We haven't talked about clues yet. Clues are, for now, just a token on his character sheet, but he can turn them in. Oh, he was both set up well and had leverage. That I remember. That's going to be very significant. And he had an advancement token that I remember too. Okay, so he can spend clues to do things, and in each scene there's options about how to spend clues. They are listed in the rules on the website, but they're also here so that I don't have to do that separately. So let's see. Option for spending a clue now. A perception skill check automatically succeeds. Okay, well, maybe that's useful. Maybe that's not. So he continues up the road, and I wonder how many entrances there are into these mines that look approachable. He also could go past the mines for now just to get a look at Cragscleft. Not sure he wants to do that. Expose himself to whatever guards are watching or things like that. Let's see how many entrances there are. And I don't really need a number. I just am wondering if he goes in an opportune way or not. So I think that we'll use First, let's see about his intuition. Does he just have a good sense of things? He has an okay sense of things. And now we'll see if an unusually opportune entrance presents itself or not. So that's just a fortune roll. I'm going to say it is not likely, so he needs a 3 or more. But being both set up well and having leverage does give him 3 chances, which he fails. Okay. So to go into the mines, he has to wade through some deep mud. There's nothing that's, saying this is a good place. There's no footprints to follow from other people. No animal tracks to say that some animal is using this entrance as a den. So how a journey fared mentioned a hidden item. So I'm wondering if he sees that. I could spend the clue, but I think the 3 dice he's probably going to notice things. He only notices things that would not be hidden with that roll. So he misses the sight. I expect that. Oh, I do remember we had 2 marks with complication approaching. So what would a complication be right now? A favorable or unfavorable view about one of your actions. So his hunch was just he needs to go in. And there's no entrance that's going to be any better than this one. But as he's squelching through the mud and it's dark, and he's thinking this really can't be smart. He's basically alone entering a cave where there's known to be undead and a bugaboo, if the rumors are reliable. He's feeling pretty foolish now, and maybe turning around and heading back wouldn't be a bad idea. On the other hand, he would have nothing to present to the village. He should at least look around a little more. He knew it would be dark, and he's not stupid, so he has a lantern with him then. If he didn't have one already, he purchased one at the village. So the light means that he is not stealthy. Anyone can see this light approaching, but he can see things also. I'm wondering next if there really is a bugaboo. Before we get back to Andelz's scene, I need to populate the cave. We know it has some burdock layers, and Andelz is unaware of that burdocks even exist. We know that there are skeletons somewhere, but they were hinted at being deeper in the cave, and maybe there's a bugaboo. So let's see if there actually is. Now, I don't know yet, as the game master, who is creating these undead. I haven't planned this mystery with a solution previously established. So it could certainly be the Jackblades. They are doing something with evil magic, and it's them who are animating the skeletons. There could actually be a bugaboo that's doing that. Or it could be someone from town. The town has multiple people who are unusually good at alchemy because of the burdock hunting. And maybe someone is using some alchemy to animate the skeletons to try and drive away the jackblades. Or maybe something else that I haven't thought of yet. So first I'm just going to roll and see which of those 4 options it is. second, so there actually is a bugaboo. Okay. I'm curious what kind. Has nightmare creatures taken from children's dreams, then this could be about anything. So let me generate some new description and see. So one of the random results is intelligent oozes that are burying the dead. Oozes are a different type of creature, but it can certainly be an intelligent and ooze like bugaboo. Something slimy and amorphous. And burying the dead. Is it trying to just take the skeletons from where they fell in combat with the Burricks years ago and move them somewhere? Hmm. My adjective, noun, and verb are respectable, feud, and prepare. Let me work those in. What would a kid have a nightmare about? Some amorphous, slimy, intelligent thing interested in dead bodies. So there were families that were feuding, and they were trying to do so with intrigue, not violence, but a murder happened. And one of the children in these families was understandably very distressed by this, wondering if he or his parents might be killed next, and had a nightmare about this monstrous creature that talked about the dead bones are lonely. Come, I will take you so they can have company. And when little Humble took this creature out of the child's dreams so he could sleep peacefully, this happened in some very distant place, then that's what this creature is. So it is um, was doing things with these dead bodies of the miners, rearranging them so that they wouldn't be all apart, because some were killed, fleeing through the mines away from the others. And then when the Jackblades rebuilt the mountain area, turned the mines and a small building on top into Cragscleft, now the monster is more active. It has more people that it needs to put here buried in the mines with these. Maybe Cragscleft even has a cemetery, probably outside next to it. And if the monster learns that, then it's the bones that it cares for deserve a respectable burial. All the skeletons might move up to Cragscleft if that happens. Okay, well, with that, it seems very likely that the first thing that Andelz meet will not be this monster or the skeletons. They seem to be deeper for now, but a burrick or Jenivere. So I'm going to say that it's moderately likely that the first thing he meets is Jenivere, because we've established there's no tracks yet. Maybe it's 3 dice because he's still set up. Oh, yes. So fortunately for him, he does meet someone who might be an ally. So he's trying to quietly prowl around, explore these mines, see if anyone else has been here. Does he notice her tracks? He does. And he's surprised to see footprints of a small person. Not a child, but an adult, smaller than him. So he follows them and wonders who else is hiding out in these mines. This is encouraging, though, because it probably means there's no dangers right here if there's another person. And he climbs up over a little place that needs some to mantle up over it and turns some corners. The mines are very much in disrepair here. And then an arrow smacks into the wall not far from him, and he hears a woman's voice say, "That was your only warning shot. Put the lantern down and your hands up. Tell me who you are and what you're doing here." In the lantern light, he can see dimly that around the next corner, leaning out without leaving the protection of turning the corner completely, is a woman with a bow. And he says, "I am unarmed," which is true. Remember, he has some special wondrous feat as an errant that allows him to fight without weapons, without penalty. "I am a wandering errant. My name is Andelz. I was told that the village of Joff's Crossing might need the services of an errant to right some injustices or deal with monsters. I am here to be helpful if you are from the village." And does she believe him? She does, but she's not going to reveal her trust so easily. "No weapons. How can you possibly be of help here?" Andelz says, "I am observant, and in truth, probably by myself, will not be able to do much. But there are some people I have started befriending in the village already, and some small things that I think I can help with. And as you see, I have soft footsteps and courage and some other skills." And the woman laughs and says, "Did my brother send you here? How did he know I was in the mines?" Andelz said, "If you are Jenivere and your brother is Bosso, I spoke to him. He did not lead me here. He believes you are held captive by the Jackblades after trying to visit Choppy, and he probably thinks to himself, you're engaged to be married to someone who's named Choppy? Really? Um, I was wondering if there was a way into Cragscleft through these mines, but I am pleased to see that you are not a captive. And Jenivere says, yes, I am Jenivere. I could not get to see my fiancé. The guards at Cragscleft opened the gate and let me in, but from their bearing I could tell that they had evil intent. They said they would take me to the prison. They probably would, but I didn't think I was coming back, so I fled up some stairs to the top of the wall, led them on a chase, and eventually found a place to leap from the wall to the mountainside and scramble here into safety. You are right, there is ways up closer to Cragscleft, and perhaps even into Cragscleft through these mines. But I am unable to show them to you now. The undead that had started more deeply in these mines, perhaps because of the mining that Jackblades are doing, or perhaps because of hearing my footsteps, they are wandering. They seem pretty aimless and mindless, but they are now not only below us, but above us in the passages that lead eventually to the level of Cragscleft from where we are. I cannot hurt them, as they are undead. They can only be hurt by magical weapons, and I only have my hunting bow. Andelz says, many in your town are alchemists. Can you do something with alchemy to craft some magical paste to put on your arrows or something like that? And Jenivere says, no, I had thought of that, but I do not have either the skill or here the equipment to do such a thing. And Andelz says, I am blessed by Little Humble and can fight well without weapons, but I do not think my hands would also hurt these undead if your arrows or a normal blade does not. Has no one in the history of the village established a way to deal with these undead? Is there some thing with alchemy, machinery, musing that the village normally does? And from the story we've heard, it sounds like the undead don't leave the mines. So I'm going to say that that's very unlikely that the villagers have made excursions to the mines to deal with this already. But we do get a 1. Jenivere replies, nothing has been tested, but Choppy was working on enchanting some of his axes perhaps in his home there is something we can use or instructions that someone more skilled at musing can use. Our village has a priest who is skilled at musing. Perhaps that can help. Andelz says, "Why haven't you returned to the village? That seems like the obvious thing to do. Your brother is worried." And Jenivere says, "Well, I have been eavesdropping, climbing up and listening to the guards talk. It's only in the past half a day that skeletons started wandering up between here and Cragscleft. I suppose I could go back, but I do worry that Warden Isset has informants in the village, and if I am there, I will not be as safe. I also might be putting my brother in danger if Warden Isset thinks that I need to be made an example of, and the best way to do this would be for him to take my brother. If I am hiding in the mines, or perhaps they think I am in the woods, then I would not know if my brother is treated badly. So perhaps hiding is keeping him safe." Andelz then offers to travel back to the village, assure Bosso in secrecy that his sister is safe, look into how to hurt these undead now that they are in the way, perhaps after visiting Choppy's house. And we found out last time that the village does have an informant to Warden Isset, a deceitful hidden folk who is pretending to be a priest of Bilda, named Oslin's Sevenridge. So perhaps this informant will learn that Andelz is returning to the mines with either a magic axe or something else, which wouldn't necessarily be disturbing to Warden Isset. He might appreciate that someone is going to deal with the undead issue. So that's sort of the things up in the air right now. Probably a good time to stop for now. And we'll see what happens next time with Andelz and these dangerous mines. I am eager to actually have a combat.